How do SD cards, micro SD cards, fit into your live stream? What role do they play? Do you record a backup of every live stream you do? Are you making edits and making video clips of the live streams that you're making for future use, so you heavily rely on your micro SD card? Do you roll the dice, log on to Amazon, and buy the cheapest one you can find? SD cards can make or break what we're trying to do with our live stream and all the follow-up that we use that live stream for. So I went on Amazon during Prime Day and I bought a 4-pack of cheap micro SD cards so that you wouldn't have to. I thought, what kind of test could I run in order to find out if these micro SD cards live up to what they say they're supposed to be? Are they going to be the capacity that they're supposed to be? Are they going to be the speed they're supposed to be? Will they be reliable enough to put my trusted data on them and expect to get it back off? Well, those are great questions, and I can answer some of them. I've always been one who has recommended to anyone that would ask, stick with the name brands. Stick with brands you know you can trust. Go with a SanDisk. Go with a Samsung. Those brand names that you know are going to give a good quality. It's rare one's going to fail. Stick with those, even though you're going to pay just a little bit more. One of the prime deals was the POVI 128 gigabyte U3 V30 high-speed micro SD card 4-pack. Got the 4-pack for $41, right at $10 a piece. The read speed on the POVI 128 gig micro SD card is supposed to be up to 100 megabytes per second. Its write speed is listed at 50. So I thought the way we would compare this would be to pull a video file from my Mevo camera to my laptop wirelessly. Now, that is a slow process. Anytime anybody asks, how do you get your videos off of the Mevo onto your device to edit them? The answer is always pull the card, pop it in a reader, and transfer it via your computer. And that's the fastest way to do it, no doubt. But if we're going to test the read speed of a micro SD card, what better way to test that read speed than have it read a data file, a video file that's on a device, and have it transfer over. And that should be comparing apples to apples. If I have the same size video file on each of these Mevo cameras, I can have each of those files written to a different micro SD card, and I can pull each of those to the same device one at a time and run a stopwatch and see exactly how much difference there is. So we have the POVI 128 that's going to pull a 8-minute video file from the Mevo camera to my iPad Pro, and it takes over 8 minutes to pull this file. The read speed of 100 megabits per second may or may not be an accurate assessment of what it will do in this use scenario. An 8-minute file that takes almost 9 minutes to do is probably unacceptable for the quality of a micro SD card. I didn't have any glitches in the writing. The video went fine as far as the recording. It's listed to record up to 4K, and the write speed should be enough for that. But it looks like the read speed may be a little bit suffering in this test. The next card that I had, I wanted to compare apples to apples, so I pulled one of my Samsung 128 gig micro SD cards. It's an EVO Select. It is also a U3, and it also has a listed read speed up to 100 megabits per second. Its write speed, though, is 60, whereas the POVI was 50. The test here, you're seeing this data come off of the camera about twice as fast. We're in the 4-minute range when it starts saving it to the device. And then, just out of curiosity, I have several 32 gig micro SD cards that I bought a few years ago. It's a good size. The 8-minute file is about 900 megabytes. So I figure a 9-minute file is going to be pretty close to a gig. If that's the case, we're going to get 4+ hours of 1080p, 20 megabits per second encoding from a Mevo Start onto a 32 gig micro SD card. That's plenty for me. If I need to change cards out between games or between services, I can do that no problem if I'm just recording that much. I seldom ever record like that. To be honest with you, I seldom ever record for the backup. If it doesn't stream, it just doesn't stream. I don't try to keep a backup on an SD card to upload later. It's just not something that I've ever trained myself to do. So I tested the 32 gigabyte version. It's an EVO Plus. It is a U1 instead of a U3, so it should be slower. It's listed at 80 megabits per second read speed. Its write speed was not listed. And you can see that it's even faster than the 128 gig Samsung EVO Select. I don't know if size has something to do with it, and the smaller SD card means it can operate a little bit faster. That 32 gigabyte micro SD card did perform the best of the three that I tested. I mentioned the PoV 4-pack was $41, so they're about $10 a piece. When I looked at the current price for a Samsung 128, the current version is a little faster, or listed as a little faster than the one that I purchased. Its write speed is 130 megabits per second, and they're about $16 a piece. And then the 32 gig EVO, its 5-pack now is $33. So it's coming in about $6 per card. Depending on how you use a micro SD card in your live stream, you have really good options, and you have really good options that allow you to stick with known name brands like that SanDisk or like this Samsung, brands that you can trust, and that's still my recommendation for anybody that asks.